The GMAT really gives insufficient time to work through these passages. What do we do when we see a problem like this? Bam, we have this typical GMAT passage, which is kind of long and info dense and often on a topic that, let's be honest, is not all that compelling, although compelling is in the eye of the beholder. And following that passage will be a question quite like this one. Here we have a main purpose question, which requires us to consider the big why of the passage. In short, capturing the reason an author explores a subject. Now, it's important to differentiate. Main idea questions focus on the subject, or the big what. Main purpose questions focus on the author, and that's the big why. But these are both general questions. And for these types of questions, we want to focus on the bigger picture, and that's where today's technique really comes in handy. So our goals for today, we're going to appreciate the importance of skimming as part of an effective strategy throughout the GMAT reading comprehension section. We're going to learn techniques for simplifying, filtering, and flattening GMAT passages. And we're also going to understand how these techniques are effective on specific question types and passages of various lengths, specifically main idea, main purpose questions, and longer passages. So, who is this topic ideal for? Honestly, students of all abilities may benefit from these techniques, but the class is designed specifically for students who get overwhelmed and are struggling to improve on the reading comprehension sections. But of course, like all things test prep, there is a caveat. There are two different challenges to GMAT reading comprehension. First, comprehending the passage, and second, figuring out the question. Improving one doesn't necessarily directly lead to better performance. It's improving both skills together that leads to progress. Now you might be thinking, why skim rather than read? So why skim rather than read? Well, the GMAT is designed to punish students who attempt to treat every word or every passage with equal attention. The GMAT is full of lots of details, name, dates, facts, and figures, not all of which you'll be actually asked about. Also, you've got complicated and elaborate sentence structures, full of GMAT vocabulary and jargon, and also dry subject matter. Compounding all of this, the GMAT really gives insufficient time to work through these passages, especially the long ones. Trying to read through and process every single sentence actually leads to lower accuracy on certain question types, particularly main idea, main purpose question types. An effective skim makes all questions attached to a passage easier to handle. You at least know where to look to find details after skimming for the main ideas and themes, because a skim will provide you with your own map to navigate back through the jungle that is the passage. What does it mean to skim a passage? All right, if you chose answer B, a reading technique used to quickly identify the main ideas and thoughts of a passage while under time constraints, nicely done. That is the correct answer. A little bit of analysis. Skimming is not just reading a passage as quickly as possible. That's speed reading. That's a whole other thing. Skimming is a more complex technique requiring focused attention on how the passage or sentence is constructed and knowing how to navigate the parts. So let's break this down. The steps of the skim. First of all, you want to ascertain the central themes, the main ideas. Then you want to separate out the main ideas from supporting ideas. Now you want to test that. Think about the relevance and strength of the supporting ideas, and then sort of contemplate putting this all together at a higher level. What is the meaning or purpose of the passage? Why was it written? What kind of journal or publication would this be found in? What would be a fitting title for this piece? What is the author's role? Is the author creating an argument, or is the author just informing you about a bunch of stuff? Is the author explaining a concept, a principle, summarizing a historical event or figure, or maybe even taking a stance in a debate? All of those things are possible. It's good to kind of put together a bigger picture before you dive into those questions. So let's check this out. Here is an example sentence. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to read through this one. 5 more seconds. Okay, so those two sentences contain a wealth of information, but not all of it is essential for understanding the main idea of the excerpt. Instead of trying to focus on all of the ideas or all the details, we should try to skim the sentence. Here's what that looks like. For each of the following phrases, try to come up with your own shorter, simpler phrasing that just keeps the main point and gets rid of all the unnecessary details. Here's that first part. The Irish physicist John Tyndall. Take a moment, think about how you can simplify that. I'm going to give you another 30 seconds. Five seconds left. All right, so one very simple version of this could be just some guy or John T. Now we move on to the next part, another 30 seconds. Try to simplify that. Five more seconds. Okay, if you have something along the lines of discovered something that led to a new science, great. That is a great way to pull out just the essential details. And finally, this third part. Again, another 30 seconds. Five more seconds. All right, if you broke it down to something like, he wrote some essays about it, nicely done. So before we had this info-dense information about John Tyndall, and after we took out the important parts, we're really just left with some guy discovered something that led to a new science. He wrote some essays about it. It's pretty much all we really need to jump into the questions. So here are our takeaways. Skimming glosses over details and focuses just on the main points. Usually, these are the nouns and the verbs of a sentence or a paragraph. After skimming, you may not have an in-depth understanding of the passage, but you know how to quickly find the specific information you might be asked about.